Hi, everybody. I am quickly just going to share a few words about something that happened to me. Sorry, I just ate Cheez-Its. You know me, Jessica. Um, so I, a lot of you who don't live around here, Giant is our grocery store, and they also have a pharmacy. I've been getting my medication at Giant Pharmacy since 2009. And all of their pharmacies are connected. And one that's closer to our house, like we dropped off prescriptions after I saw my neurologist. I got like all new paper prescriptions. First of all, I'm not even on anything basically anymore because I'm finished with all my surgeries. A couple things I have to be weaned off of, and we're just waiting. I just got in, get injections, and then we'll slowly wean stuff off. I'm not on any narcotics. First of all, if I was, who cares? Like, nobody should judge. It's no one's business. Nobody knows what we go through. And part of like even just this whole advocacy thing, like if you're showing up to a pharmacy and you have like a prescription from a doctor, you're probably sick, right? Okay, thanks. So anyway, I went to go get a prescription, and about 2 years ago, my insurance started paying. I get 180 pills of this particular medication a month. And 120 is paid for by my insurance, and 60 I pay out of pocket. No biggie. My normal pharmacy, not a problem, but because it was dropped off at the other pharmacy, but I'm in the system. So I go to pick it up, and I told the lady who came up, I went up to the counter, I told her my name. She pulled like the bag out of the drawer, and it had like this stick in it. So she said like, "Oh, 1 second." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So she goes behind to speak to a pharmacist. The lady asked me to go over to like patient counseling. By this time there were like a bunch of people there. I mean, I don't care. Like, look at me. I have no makeup on. I literally don't care what people think about me, obviously. So, next thing you know, this pharmacist starts screaming at me. And when people start screaming, I have a tendency of like maybe like going, "I'm sorry, I have no idea." Like, you try to get them to be quiet. I wasn't embarrassed, but I was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." She's like, she had an accent. I couldn't understand her. I'm not racist. I'm just telling you, I literally couldn't understand her. I'm like, what? And she's like, we don't do this. We don't drug deal. And I'm like, drug deal? Like, and I'm like, so I was just like standing there kind of like trying to process. I had no freaking idea what she was talking about. And she kept screaming at me and shouting. And by this point, I'm like kind of shaking, and I know my face was red because, again, like our whole nervous systems are compromised. Sometimes we don't know how to react, and sometimes if we react, it might not be pretty. This particular day, I was kind of like, and she just kept shouting, and I was like, "Ma'am," I was like, and she's like, we don't fill scripts. And I was like, "Ma'am, did you read that? Like, it's a prescription from a doctor from from like one of the top hospitals in DC." I was like, "I've been on it from '09." And I was trying to like just explain. She's like, "I don't care. I don't want to hear. You are a drug addict." I'm like, "Oh my, like, did the pharmacist just call me a drug addict?" Like, you would have thought I was standing there with a baggie asking for like Oxycontin or Percocet or I don't know, meth. And I was like, "You know what?" I was like, "Can I have my prescription back? I'm just going to go over to the normal Giant where I go." And she's like, she wasn't going to give it to me. And she's like, you're not going to get this. I'm flagging you in the system. By the way, this is my muscle relaxer that I take. And again, I've been on it because when you have chronic pain in your head, you tend to be like this. So now my neurologist, I'm on a muscle relaxer, which is nobody's business, but they're trying to just like to relax me. And my muscle spasms have been really bad. I mean, first of all, I'm so much better, but they're just trying to like, it's like Okay, we've ironed out 90% of Jessica. We just got to get that 10% ironed out. So I'm standing in Giant in the pharmacy and I'm being called a drug addict, not to mention the fact that she's yelling so loud that not probably the entire grocery store can hear me, but people in another country could probably hear that Jessica Moore is a drug addict. We don't drug deal. I don't know what kind of game you're trying to play, but we only fill with. Then she was saying that we only do what's on the paper. I'm like, did you even read the prescription that my doctor has? Like, anyway, she wouldn't give me the thing back, but one of the technicians like ripped it out of her hand and like gave it to me, and I was just like, I literally was stunned. So I don't even like remember walking back to my car. I dialed my Giant and I did start to cry. Big baby, hashtag cry baby. But it wasn't like out of like sadness or anything, but it was more like I was so angry and like, if this woman is doing this to me and I'm feeling much better and I'm in a different place, like, can you imagine like somebody really sick? And I remember me in the beginning of my journey, I just couldn't, I mean, I don't even think I wasn't even picking up my own medication. My family members are. So I called over to my Giant and I got my pharmacist. She was like, oh my God, Jessica, are you okay? What's going on? And I explained to her what happened. And she was like, just come over here, bring it, we'll fill it. I said, I can't. She said, I'm flagged. Like, I can't get my medication. Should I call my doctor? Like, I have to call my doctor. She's like, and she was typing. I could hear her. She's like, you're not flagged. I don't even know what's going on. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I had to go get my daughter from school. I came home and my husband took the prescription and filled it. And so I let a couple of days go by and I called the corporate office of Giant. And I filed, I don't know who I talked to. They took my information. I heard back from the general manager of this particular Giant. She wanted to know the time, the day, the description of the woman. She said she knew exactly what I was talking about. It wasn't even their real pharmacist. It was a floater. And I said, listen, I don't know what your protocol is. I don't know what your policy is, but I feel that this woman there needs to be an official, like a complaint put in her file. It needs to go on record because it's completely unacceptable. She violated HIPAA. She was screaming like really horrible things. And so the lady told me that there would be a follow-up from corporate, whatever. Well, then my nice pharmacist had called to check on me. And I said, nobody followed up with me except for the general manager. Well, she gave me the cell phone number to the pharmacy's general manager. I called her 3 times, left detailed message, letting her know that I would like to speak to her, kind of gave her a brief, statement about what happened, never called. My 4th voicemail, I said, you know what? I've called you 3 times. I am now going to take to social media. I have a nonprofit foundation. I'm a patient advocate. And I kind of told her, and I said, I will be taking to social media. I'm going to blast Giant. I'm going to let everyone know what your pharmacy, how you let your pharmacist, your employees treat people. And I talked to my doctor today telling her what happened. And she's like, you definitely need to follow up. And if not, she told me to call my lawyer. And I'm like, I'm probably not going to call my lawyer. I'm like, whatever. But you know what? You want to know what? After I left the message, I hung up. Not even 5 minutes, the lady called back. Oh, I think you said your name was Jessica. I don't know what you're talking about. This is the first phone call I got from you. Really? So you got this message, but you didn't get the other 3? Bullshit. I call bullshit. I call this whole thing bullshit. And Giant Corporation, if you're smart, you can go to purplewithapurpose.org and hit the donate button because I'm not done. Because what you did to me was what you allowed one of your floater pharmacists do to me was so uncalled for. She violated HIPAA. She insulted me. She verbally assaulted me. I mean, it's just so ridiculous that a person goes to the pharmacy to get their medication and gets attacked, gets called a drug addict. by some insane woman that you have employed for you. And I'm doing this because for a lot of reasons. And also, if somebody that I'm helping and that I could potentially help in the future, if this is happening to you, reach out to me because it's bullshit. And I'm sick and tired of shit like this happening. And people are employed and just getting away with it. When I was working and we had people come in to the office, if one of my employees, first of all, it would never happen. You never speak. The customer is always right. If she thought that there was a problem with my prescription, get on the goddamn phone, call my doctor, who's a licensed freaking doctor at Georgetown University Hospital, number one in our nation's capital, and say, listen, even though since 2009, I see right here that Jessica Moore has been getting this medication, just you're having an off day, make a freaking phone call. Don't accost me in the store like a crazy person. Just when you think things have calmed down, we're making everybody's making we're making strides in this like health industry and getting your medication or even getting medical treatment. No. And you know what? It's just asinine. There's so many things that I could say, but I'd probably get nasty comments on YouTube. Unless you've lived what I've lived or what the people that who've been in my shoes have lived, don't comment. You can comment, but I'll delete it. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. I'm not done. I'm gonna file. I'm not done. I'm taking this to the top. You know what, Giant? Go to my purplewithapurpose.org page, and if you're smart, hit the donate button and donate so we can help people. And then I'll shut my mouth. But until then, I'm not done. That's all I have to say. I'm angry. I don't want to talk anymore.